Hello, you're watching QPVN News. I'm Anh Tuấn and here's the headlines. Vietnam-New Zealand relations upgraded to comprehensive strategic partnership. ASEAN Future Forum 2025's plenary session held. Vietnam, a good friend and reliable partner of international community. On the occasion of the 70th anniversary of Vietnamese Doctors' Day, February the 27th, on the morning of February the 26th at the Presidential Palace, President Lương Cường met with delegates who are outstanding medical staff representing hundreds of thousands of doctors and those working in the medical sector of Vietnam. At the meeting, President Lương Cường highly appreciated the great contribution and unsung sacrifices of the medical staff, heroic martyrs of the medical sector across the country. He affirmed that taking care of the people's health is a priority in the socio-economic development strategy of the party and state. In the new era, he requested all levels and sectors, especially the health sector, to focus on developing a universal health system, improving the quality of specialized healthcare, and accelerating digital transformation in the health sector. On this occasion, he awarded the noble title of People's Physician to 46 health workers and officials for their contribution to the cause of caring for and improving people's health. On February the 26th, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính hosted a welcoming ceremony and held talks with New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon. Both sides agreed to elevate Vietnam-New Zealand relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính welcomed Prime Minister Christopher Luxon on his first official visit to Vietnam, emphasizing its significance as the two countries celebrate 50 years of diplomatic ties and 5 years of strategic partnership. Prime Minister Luxon expressed his pleasure at visiting Vietnam, affirming it as a key partner in Southeast Asia. He highlighted the strong potential for deepening bilateral relations in a more practical and substantive manner. The two leaders were pleased with the strong progress in Vietnam-New Zealand relations over the past 5 years, with growing political trust, high-level exchanges, and effective bilateral cooperation mechanisms. They identified significant potential in trade, new technologies, digital transformation, green transition, climate change response, and education. With a solid foundation and a shared vision for the future, they agreed to upgrade relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership, reflecting their commitment to regional and global peace, stability, and development. Following their talks, the two prime ministers held a joint press conference, announced the upgraded partnership, and witnessed the signing of cooperation agreements in diplomacy, climate change, agriculture, healthcare, education, and aviation. Since Vietnam and New Zealand established diplomatic relations, and especially since the two countries officially upgraded their bilateral relations to strategic partnership, the relationship between the two countries has been constantly developing in all fields. Within the framework of the official visit to Vietnam and his attendance at the ASEAN Future Forum 2025, on February the 26th, New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon attended the New Zealand-Vietnam EduConnect at the Foreign Trade University, Hanoi. Over the past 50 years, education has always been a central pillar in the relationship between Vietnam and New Zealand. Speaking at the event and talking with more than 200 students of the Foreign Trade University, New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon recognized that Vietnam is currently the most dynamically developing country in Southeast Asia, always prioritizing the development and transformation of education. He hopes to continue to tighten long-term cooperation with Vietnam in this field.
Of course, in our 50-year relationship between New Zealand and Vietnam, it has been one of the common constants is our education transfer between our two countries. And I think the other thing is that what you see with the relationship over the last 50 years and what I hope for in the next 50 years is that relationship of students coming to Vietnam, students coming from Vietnam to New Zealand is actually the bridge that actually builds the understanding between both countries. And it is actually about those people-to-people connections that are so important, that happen because of educational opportunity, that ends up leading to flows of capital and trade and information and commerce that results on the back of all of that.
In 2025, the New Zealand government continues to offer many scholarships to Vietnamese students, expanding both in scale and quantity, with 3 government scholarship programs at the secondary, tertiary and graduate levels to provide the most comprehensive support for Vietnamese students.
So we have a range of opportunities available to students both while they are studying and when they finish their qualifications in New Zealand. So we have opportunities for students to work part-time while they are studying towards their qualifications. So that might be in the industry that they want to eventually work in, or it could be some other industries or work opportunities. And for students that are completing higher level qualifications, New Zealand grants post-study work rights to them for up to 3 years after the completion of their study. So we don't want the relationship just to begin and end with the education. We really want to go beyond that.
Currently, 1,700 Vietnamese students are studying in New Zealand. The country has 8 universities in the top 2% of the highest quality universities in the world, which is very suitable for students to experience high-quality English education, as well as study in such fields as STEM, economics, medicine, AI and chatbot. The learning environment in New Zealand is so great, motivating me to boost innovation. The lecturers supported me a lot. New Zealand has paid due attention to education in Vietnam, and they have provided many courses and scholarships for Vietnam. During the event, New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon, Vietnamese Minister of Education and Training Nguyễn Kim Sơn, and Chief Executive of Education New Zealand Amanda Malu witnessed the exchange of cooperation documents between educational institutions of the two countries. This serves as a basis for opening up more educational cooperation opportunities between Vietnam and New Zealand. On February the 26th, the ASEAN Future Forum 2025's plenary session was held in Hanoi. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính chaired the high-level discussion. Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến, Deputy Minister of National Defense, attended the event. At the event, delegates continued to clarify the theme, building a united, inclusive and resilient ASEAN amidst global transformation, of the ASEAN Future Forum 2025. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính shared Vietnam's viewpoints and experience in maintaining strategic autonomy, that is, consistently pursuing a balanced foreign policy, diplomacy, respecting the law, focusing on strengthening national defense security in accordance with situations, ensuring social security in a fair and progressive way, at the same time promoting national strength and maintaining cultural identity. The delegates also conveyed practical sharing on issues of common concern, such as major trends affecting ASEAN and the world until 2035, ASEAN's fundamental principles to respond to future challenges. Coming up next, ASEAN united for security and prosperity. Vietnam, a good friend and reliable partner of international community. At the invitation of Malaysian Defence Minister Dr. Seri Mohammed Khaled bin Nordin, a high-ranking delegation of the Vietnamese Ministry of National Defense, led by its General Nguyễn Tân Cường, Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army, Deputy Defence Minister, attended the ADMM retreat and related activities in Malaysia on February the 27th. At the event, General Nguyễn Tân Cương shared and proposed several orientations for the ADMM and ADMM Plus in continuing to maintain and strengthen solidarity, unity in diversity, and persevere in ASEAN standards of conduct and principal stance of some international and regional issues that are receiving much attention. The delegates attending the conference exchanged views on strengthening ASEAN solidarity and regional cooperation in responding to emerging security challenges, particularly continuing to maintain and strengthen solidarity and unity in diversity, persevering with ASEAN standards of conduct and principal stance on international and regional issues is the content that the participating countries especially expressed high consensus on. The participants also agreed on the problems of linking capacity building to respond to common security challenges with strengthening cooperation in education and training and developing high-quality human resources. In his speech, General Nguyễn Tân Cương expressed his joy that ASEAN has maintained solidarity, promoted cooperation, and achieved many results in various fields, affirming its increasingly important role in maintaining peace, stability, and security in the region, especially in the context of many fluctuations in the world and regional situation. General Nguyễn Tân Cương agreed with the speeches of the head delegates of the countries and highly appreciated this year's theme of ASEAN Unity for Security and Prosperity, the settlement of disputes through peaceful means grounded in respect for independence, sovereignty, and legitimate interest of all nations, and refraining from using force or threat to use force in international relations. ASEAN should remain committed to international law, including the 1982 UNCLOS, seriously follow global and regional commitments such as the DOC, and support the establishment of a transparent, practical, and effective COC. Within the framework of the ASEAN Defense Ministers Meeting Retreat, General Nguyễn Tân Cương, Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army and Deputy Defense Minister, had bilateral meetings with heads of defense ministries of ASEAN countries. He vowed that Vietnam is always a friend and a reliable partner with countries in the ASEAN community, as well as in the world. At the meeting with Senior Lieutenant General Kham Liang Uthakhaison, Minister of National Defense of Laos, General Nguyễn Tân Cương congratulated Laos on successfully undertaking the role of ASEAN Chairmanship 2024. He voiced his hope that on the basis of the Protocol on Defense Cooperation for the 2025-2029 period, the 2025 Cooperation Plan and the common perception between the two countries' senior leaders, the two sides would continue to focus on areas such as exchanging delegations at all levels, effectively maintaining the mechanisms of the annual meeting between the defense ministers of Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, the joint exercise between the armed forces of Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia in Laos, and the 5th Vietnam-Laos Defense Policy Dialogue. During the meeting with Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Defense of Cambodia, Theo, General Nguyễn Tân Cương affirmed that the Vietnam-Cambodia defense cooperation relations has recently achieved many positive results. He hopes that in the coming time, the two sides will continuously pay attention to comprehensively and effectively implementing the Defense Cooperation Protocol for the 2025-2029 period, the 2025 Cooperation Plan between the two Ministries of National Defense, focusing on exchanging delegations at all levels and organizing the second Vietnam-Cambodia Ministerial Border Defense Friendship Exchange. At the meeting with Minister of Defense of Indonesia, Siam Soedin, General Nguyễn Tân Cương suggested that the two sides focus on promoting contents such as exchanging delegations at all levels, especially high-level ones, consultation and dialogue mechanisms, training. In addition, General Cương also expressed his hope that the two sides would soon complete negotiations on the agreement on the implementation of the agreement on the delimitation of the exclusive economic zone between Vietnam and Indonesia. At the meeting with Minister of Defense of Malaysia, Dr. Seri Mohammed Khaled bin Nordin, General Nguyễn Tân Cương affirmed that the Vietnamese Ministry of National Defense supports Malaysia in its role as co-chair of the ADMM Plus Experts Group on counter-terrorism with India for the 2024-2027 period. In the coming time, General Nguyễn Tân Cương suggested that the two sides focus on promoting the content of implementing the first Deputy Minister-level defense policy dialogue mechanism. This is the end of the QPVN News today. Remember to watch our news again at qpvn.vn. Thank you for watching and goodbye for now.